everybody. I am Marcela Celorio. I'm the Consul General of Mexico in Los Angeles, and I feel privileged to be able to participate in the WADA LA Jara Film Festival and bestow today with a very meaningful piece of art from Mexico, the Mexican Tree of Life. That is very important to us, and we are going to bestow this to a very important person. So, but before, I'm going to tell you what's about this Tree of Life that is so meaningful to Mexicans. Well, this is a sculptural piece of mud created by native artisans of the town of Metepec in the state of Mexico. And this sculpture illustrates the creation story from the Bible. Each of these pieces of the tree symbolizes the life that people give back to many women, children, and families that are so thankful that they are able to have access to justice. And now I am giving you a hint of what Mónica Ramírez, the awardee today, that we are bestowing with this sculpture. Yes, indeed, Mónica Ramírez is a social activist that has been fighting effortless for the rights of the most vulnerable people. And I would like to read a quote from her so you get to know her better. No one should be forced to give up their dignity in order to feed their family. What most people do not realize is that migrant women workers are particularly vulnerable to this violence because of the isolated nature of their jobs and the great power imbalance between them and their employers. So I will leave it to Monica so she can tell us about the work that she has been doing and about her origins.
Thank you so much, Marcela, and thank you so much to everyone that's involved with the festival. This is such a meaningful recognition for myself and for justice for migrant women. I always say during conversations like these, it's really important for us to convey that, we do our work because we know that our work is needed, and we understand that being closest to the ground is extraordinarily important because it is from the ground that we can see the problems the best. And so these sorts of recognitions give us a chance to spotlight some of the work that's being done. So thank you for putting a spotlight on the work. And in terms of my origin story, I'm the daughter and granddaughter of migrant farm workers. My family traveled from Mexico and worked all over the United States, picking and packing fruits and vegetables. And so the story of migrant people is one that is, it's part of my history, and the sacrifices of migrant people and the way that migrant people are abused and exploited in this country. Those unfortunately are not new things. Those are things that have been taking place for a very, very long time. And unfortunately, migrant women, men and children don't often win justice for the harm that's committed against them. So the work of farm workers and the migrant community is something that's very close to my heart. And, particularly in this pandemic, I think it's important for people to understand that even though farm workers in this country were deemed essential by our federal government, the reality is that farm workers in our country have been denied essential rights and benefits from the beginning of time. Farm workers were specifically written out of the federal law, so they don't receive the same protections as other workers. And that decision was made by Congress over 80 years ago. So here we are today, and now farm workers have been deemed essential, yet they went to work during this pandemic and didn't have enough food to eat while they did the work to put food on our tables. Farm worker women suffer from extraordinary abuse like sexual violence. There have been 2 studies that have been done on this. And in the first study, 90% of farm worker women said sexual harassment was a major problem. And in 2014, a second study came out and 80% of farm worker women said sexual harassment was a major problem. So even with decades of organizing, we've seen very little progress on this issue. And that is because, as Marcela mentioned, it is the isolation that makes farm workers and other workers like them vulnerable to some of these abuses. And during this time of the pandemic, things have become even worse. So we've seen hundreds and hundreds of workers across the country who have been asked to work without the right protective gear. They've been told to work even though they're sick with COVID. They've been told that they can be replaced if they don't want to do the job, even though they're scared of contracting COVID. And so this award is about valuing life and giving life to the communities and the people that we serve. And I think the best way that we can do that is by making a commitment, all of us, not just advocates and activists like me or organizations like ours, but all of us have to make a commitment to honor the dignity of all people and to push that all people be recognized in all of their humanity. And in order to do that, that means that we can't treat some workers like they are substandard or subhuman, and that includes farm worker women and other migrant women. So with all of that, I say to you, we are partners in this work, and it is with deep gratitude that we accept this award, and we commit to continuing to do the work alongside each of you.
Thanks to you, Mónica, and your organization. Congratulations.
Thank you.